I'm a third year literature student, and this is like my second video here. I think on this channel, I just want to talk about literature, my life, things I notice, observe, just random stuff like that. Okay, so I think I accidentally became someone who reads classic. It's not like I deliberately wanted to read classics. I mean, I did, but it was more like in a I want to explore way. Because honestly, I have one specific genre which I like to read. So, but as a literature student, I was also expected to read classics. So, in that way, I actually was introduced to it. And later, when I started liking the language, the ostentatious language it was written in, I started going forward with it. And it was also kind of about curiosity. I wanted to see what they are actually like. And now most of what I have been reading is actually classics, again, because of my degree. But when I started reading classics, I literally had no idea. I thought they must be written in some really difficult language. And some of them were. Some of them actually were written in quite different language. And it was kind of tough for me to grasp onto. And it took me almost like uh, let's say months of studying after I actually grasped what the story or the topic was actually about. So today I brought like 5 books with me, only 3 physical copies because I read the rest, maybe either borrowing from my friends or in my Kindle, which is dead now by the way and doesn't work properly. So yeah. So these are the classics that I have read as a beginner, and I'm going to tell you if you actually should read it from a beginner's perspective. Like, I'm going to tell you what it's about, not like in a spoiler giving way, but in a more like what I expected. So, when I started reading classics, as I told you, I expected them to be like really difficult and complicated. Some of them were complex in terms of language, and some of them were like in terms of themes and other aspects. So, what I'm going to do is segregate uh, one book into several questions, like what I expected. Then I will discuss what I felt after reading. Then I will tell a little about the books, like the plot and what is actually the complex or difficult part about it. Then at last, I will give you my final verdict that if you should read this or not. So the first classic I picked up was the Wuthering Heights. And honestly, this one is the most complicated one, and I did not expect the language to be something that I won't understand at all. And but this book actually made me stare onto the wall for like days because it was so tough. And while keeping up the new vocabulary I was learning, I could not focus on the plot. So it was like very tough for me to connect afterwards what was actually happening. So answering the question what I expected from this book, I honestly expected it to be tough and it to be like detail oriented, but I did not expect it to be this much confusing. Like, this book basically has a frame narrative. So, or you can also call it a dual narrative. Now, what is a frame narrative? In a frame narrative, you will find narration inside narration. Okay, like there will be not only one narrator, but like 2 or more, and it is more like, if I explain it in a simple term, it is a story inside another story. So it was really confusing for me at first. Like, while keeping up, like while I was trying to jot down the new words I was learning through reading, like I have so many annotations in there. Let me show you. Like here, I have like so many markers in this book. I forgot to keep up with the plot. And at the end of the book, I was so confused that what happened. Like there were literally characters who were dead, and I did not know about it. Samita, this book actually turned out to be, I would say, it actually worked like a warm up. So when I actually jumped into the classes that I read next, it was not daunting for me, if you get it, what I'm trying to say. As I told you, this book has a frame narrative. Like there are actually 2 narrators. One is Mr. Lockwood and another is Nellie Dean. And before going to the narrative, let me talk about the plot a bit. So this is like, people actually consider it to be a love story, but it is not a typical one. And it while other love story talk about actual romance, the positive sides, the fairy tale sides of romance, this book shows you the uglier side. Like, I would not think it actually has a happy ending, but if you now think it from a broader or from a aerial view, it actually does have one. But for that, you have to get into the book. So, as I have already told you, this book actually explores the uglier side of romance. And it also explores themes like passion, obsessive love, revenge, then social class and mobility. And there you will also find themes like nature versus civilization. So throughout the book, the conflict that starts, say, from the previous generation, it actually continues to the next one. So because of this elongated time frame, it actually explores multifaceted perspectives, multifaceted themes, and complex characters, their psychosis. You have to get into everything if you want to experience this book properly. That's why maybe it took me comparatively a longer time frame to finish. or you can also blame my inexperience in the world of classics. But to give my final verdict, I would say you can get into this book, but I would not advise it, honestly. I feel like you should start with something mild because this is not a typical dark romance. It is actually more than that. It talks about so many things, and I feel like if you are not mature enough to understand them, this book won't be justified. And if you are actually comfortable with this language, then well and good. But for the first time readers, I would say you should actually skip it. Now, after Emily Bronte, I straight up jumped into Fyodor Dostoevsky. We should blame Book Talk for that, but I was so interested in the themes he explores, so I just could not hold myself back. And I also heard that the language is comparatively much, much more easier because it is translated, obviously. And it honestly, it actually met my expectations. The language was indeed easier, and I felt like I went into a flow state while reading it. And it actually follows that the technique of stream of consciousness quite well. Now, stream of consciousness, I don't think so if I would be able to explain it to you properly, but stream of consciousness is something when you actually go into the narrator's mind. Okay, maybe not the narrator, but someone's mind. Okay, like you actually go through the thoughts and processes, like what is actually going on inside their mind. So it is more like putting you in the place of the narrator, and you are experiencing everything what he or she is going through. Yeah, so talking about this, the Meek One, it is a very short story, honestly. I do not remember the page count, but it was, I guess, around 80 to 85 pages. Very short, but it was emotionally heavy, like really heavy. It made me, it actually still makes me think about it. It was easy read. It was very easy to read, but complex to process. Okay, so it is basically what classic Dostoevsky is, will make you go through a roller coaster of emotions. So this is actually very common in Dostoevsky's stories. It's like he's talking about his own experiences, but you are relating to it while leading a life in the 21st century. And again, talking about the book, it is written in a monologue form, and it focuses on themes like control, guilt, and the relationships, like the uglier side again. Okay, so it also gives you a peek into the narrator's psyche. Again, talking about stream of consciousness technique. Honestly, I would not recommend it to you if you do not like to read darker or psychologically heavy stuff. But again, this would be a nice experience for someone who is actually exploring. Like it helped me to look into my life in from a different perspective as well. Honestly, you will get mad at the narrator so many times throughout the story, and that's what make you realize the uglier side of human behavior. Like now, whenever basically what the narrator is doing is all human instincts. But like you also have these instincts, I also have these instincts. But after reading this, while actually giving in to my instincts, I think twice. I actually contemplate what can be the consequences. And the consequences are actually shown through the narrator in this whole story. So I would say you can read it because of its easy language, but be aware of the psychologically heavy themes. Okay, so the third book I read is actually my favorite one. Like till now, till like from all the classics that I have read, this one is my favorite of all times. I guess, did I pick the right book or not? Yeah, okay. So it's The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And I love Oscar Wilde. I love the way he writes. I love his philosophies. I love the language he uses. I love the way he explores three themes through his characters, which are very human. Like that something that is so mundane that it might happen to me or to you. But again, from a very extreme perspective, that it is actually quite impossible to happen to me or you. So, first of all, I have to talk about the preface. You should not, if you are reading this book, you are not allowed to skip the preface. Now, what I actually expected from this book, I expected it to be very aesthetically leaned in. I expected the language to be really ostentatious. I expected it to explore the area of horror, like the actual horror we see in horror movies, supernatural entities and like jump scares and all. And honestly, it did not meet my expectations completely, and it did not disappoint me either. Like, rather, I was pleased with the things I actually received as a reader. This book is like really idea heavy. You are going to explore so many philosophies in it, and the language is so melodious. You won't even realize. Okay, you feel like you're listening to a song, but this song actually goes into your skin. It crawls into your skin and gives you the chills. Again, it's a very engaging read, but equally controversial. I personally think it also does explore the theme of homosexuality, but it is not confirmed neither in this book or it is not actually stated explicitly. But if you read it, you will actually understand what I'm trying to say. One thing that actually fascinated me are the characters. Like these characters are so well written, I can't even tell you. Like each and every character, they are not here as stop characters or just to fill, like just as filler characters. They are here with a purpose. Like each and every character, even though they're here only for like maybe their timing, their appearance timing in this whole book might be of 1 or 2 scenes, but those 1 or 2 scenes actually influence the whole plotline. Okay, so it actually revolves around a young boy called Dorian Gray, and he's very pretty. Like, he looks so attractive. His innocence, it is very attractive. And this attractiveness or this aesthetically pleasing appearance of him is actually the reason behind his doom. Now, how it is the reason behind his doom? You have to read it. I actually do not want to give you any spoilers, but uh, a typical gothic setting it has. And you will find horror elements as well. But not the way I expected, like those jump scare wala horror. But it is not actually manifested physically, but maybe psychologically. Yeah, psychologically. And it is also debatable if it has supernatural elements in it or not. But it also depends on your perspective and your opinion. So if you ask me if you should read this book as a beginner, I would say no. Because I am in my third year right now and I'm still exploring it. I am still going back to this book again and again, time to time. So I guess you should give yourself a little bit of time, maybe go through other stuff, other genres, and then go back to this one. Yeah. So in a way, it all depends on you. But me, talking about myself, me as a person, I honestly do care about aesthetics a lot. Maybe not a lot in a life shifting way, but a lot enough to actually like this book because it actually talks about aesthetics a lot. Like, you will get it. Once you start reading it, you will get it. Why I'm emphasizing on this word aesthetic so much. Now, coming back to my next book, that is The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. It is a very short and easy read, again, only 80 pages or like 78 pages, if I remember correctly. But it is very absurd. Like, while reading it, you'll be like, what am I even reading? Like, why am I even reading this? But you have to look into the meaning. This book actually talks about alienation from even from your family. Like, when we talk about alienation, for me, it generally does not include my family. Like, uh, maybe it from the society, from my outer circle, but again and again, I will go back to my parents. I will go back to my family. But here, the protagonist, for the protagonist, it actually is not quite the same situation. So it actually talks about the absurdity of existence. Like, you might have an existential crisis after reading it, like I had. I was actually in between my class when I finished reading it, and I had to stop myself from bursting out. Even though this is something I could not relate personally, but the thought of actually relating to it haunted me. So, yeah, I won't say anything more about this book. It is very absurd, it is very sad, it is very, again, thematically heavy, but it is worth the read. So, I think you can go for it as a beginner read. So, yeah. Now, okay, so that was actually not the last book. This one is, I forgot about it, I actually missed it. But again, Dostoevsky, The White Knights. And I bet you must have heard about it. You must have thought of reading it. You must have actually read it as well while I am uploading this video. So, very short one again, probably I guess 116 pages if I remember. I'm bad with the things, but I guess it's even shorter than that. Yeah. So, love story, but not the fairy tale one again. I guess I actually do love books with these kind of things which are a little sad, a little dark, which is not something you would experience in real life, but again, something you would. So, this book revolves around a character, unnamed narrator, or also specified as dreamer. So, this dreamer, I personally found him really pessimistic. Now, okay, first of all, coming back to what I actually expected from this book. Now, before talking about the plot, I actually have to talk about my personal experience. So, I was thinking of reading this book since like the last 6 months when I actually finished reading it. But I could not because I had so many things to read, like so many things piled up to read. Actually, my friends read it first and they spoiled it so much to me that I was so enraged that I sat and finished the whole book. And again, this book is only 100 pages long, so it is not a big deal that I finished it in one sitting. But I am someone who actually take breaks while reading. Like, I do take a lot of breaks. But so for me, reading it in one sitting was a big deal. And something happens with him, which is not at all uncommon. Like, it happens to probably everyone, or it might have happened to the people around you, if not with you. So it is very, I would not say the plot is something very big or evenful, but the way this narrator actually talks about his experience is is very moving. It is very retrospective. It is very, uh, I would not say it is, he actually thinks too much. He is an overthinker. So, but I also found him a little victimizing, which is debatable again. This is only my perspective. So, while people actually think that his love interest, the narrator's love interest, is the villain in the story, I do not think so. I think it is this narrator's own mind, own traits, which actually caused him this heartbreak. Now, this book again employs the technique of stream of consciousness and explores things like isolation, alienation, the ephemeral feeling of happiness and how fleeting it is, and obviously unrequited love and selflessness. But I would not say that actually is selflessness. Uh, there are so many perspectives, and you have to read it again to explore. You might not agree with my views as well, but yeah, that's what I actually understood after reading these books. So, uh, for a beginner, I would say go for it. Oh, yeah, that was it. These are the books that I have read as a beginner, and I have gave you my verdict to you if you should actually read it or not. But at the end of the day, it actually depends on you if you want to read it or not. Uh, because I had no idea, I had no proper framework. Actually, no one does, but I also had no one to tell me what book I should read first or not. So I started with probably the heavier and the overbearing ones. If you want to read them first, you can. You obviously can. No one is stopping you, but you please, but just maybe keep in mind the things I told you about the books. And again, the perspectives, the opinions that I have shared are completely mine. So you do not have to agree with it. If, like, after reading, you might have your very own set of opinions, and as you should, obviously. So they might not match with mine. So, but these are just my opinions that I have shared. So, yeah, okay, that was it. Bye.